Trying to find a coolant leak on your truck can be a problem sometimes. Can be a pain trying to see where it's coming from, because you got all these coolant lines running up and down. You know, I'm not a diesel tech. This is my first truck I ever owned. So trying to figure out what part is what and stuff like that is very complicated for me. And I try to save money by not going to repair shops. But this time I had to go somewhere because my truck was leaking coolant like crazy. So I already have to replace the coolant reservoir and the radiator, and so you got the def and fuel water heater lines right here. But so you got the engine right there. So if you have a coolant leak that is coming out from in this general area and you can't really seem to figure out where it's coming from, more than likely it's going to be one of two things. This is a coolant line right here. This runs all the way back into the compressor. So the compressor is right under there behind this frame. And you have another line that connects to the compressor that goes from the engine block that goes into the compressor. So you got the inlet and the outlet. You can see right here, that is the line. Right in there, there's a line right there, and that is a little elbow that connects to the compressor. So if you have any leakage coming from this area, which mine was leaking right below right there, and I could not figure out where the heck it was coming from, more than likely it's gonna be this line or that little elbow. That is a small tiny little section. So it's either gonna be that or this, which I've heard a lot of bad things about those two parts. You know, they're made out of plastic and they break. But in this video, I'm gonna show what's going on with my truck. So at first I thought it was leaking from this little gasket that goes right here on the compressor, because that's where it was dripping at originally. But then I started looking, and then I see drops coming up from up top, and then I figured out, oh yeah, it's coming up from up there, that little peak. The one thing I hate about doing on my truck is having to do repairs while I'm over the road, because you can never find good, dependable mechanics. And luckily for me, I found a good shop down in Tremonton, Utah, which is about 70 miles north of Salt Lake City. I was kind of scared because I didn't think they're gonna have this part, just because they were a smaller shop, and you know, they don't carry parts like that for every truck out there. But they did have the part. Blessings in disguise. Lucky for me, I had enough time to go there and get it replaced, and they did an amazing job. A TMC in Tremonton diesel shop, they took care of me real good over there. I appreciate y'all guys, and I gave them a 5-star review. So as you can see here, this young mechanic, very knowledgeable. Appreciate this guy. Man, he made me feel bad because he's like 20 years old and he's out here doing things that I should not really know, but that I should be able to do on my own. But he started off by draining the coolant, and he's gonna remove the plug out of the radiator. That's what he's doing right now. This coolant is extremely hot, guys, so if y'all doing this on y'all's own, you know, make sure that it's cooled down before y'all start doing this. And get yourself one of them 5-gallon buckets. You're probably gonna need maybe 2, 3, possibly 5-gallon buckets, because it is a lot of coolant. So I was watching some videos on how to do this on your own. If you are mechanically inclined, more than likely this is the type of job that you can do while being over the road. But you know, I'm not a diesel tech or anything like that, and then I didn't have enough time to go pick up this part, so I had to take it into a shop. So this is the part that he's trying to replace, and it is a little bit tricky. There's a part number, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the description. It's a pain to get in there just because of all the crap that's in the way. There's a filter and there's all these lines. This is the piece that has been giving me the issue. This is where the plastic hose was connected to, and it just ended up breaking eventually. Right there you can see it's just wearing out. So I was watching some videos on how to do it on my own, and it's really not that hard, but it is a lot of steps. And this guy made it seem like it was even easier than what it was supposed to be. Just with the few tools that he has, you know, it has a couple of pick tools that in order to take off that piece. But other than that, the videos that I watched, there's this filter, I think it's the fuel filter right there, that the videos that I've watched, they took this whole assembly off, and he did not have to do none of that. He just disconnected the little hose from the compressor to the engine block, and he was able to get in there. I don't know how. I mean, you know, he's a little bit of a slimmer guy, you know, hands a little bit thinner, but trying to get in there is super complicated. But he was able to do it without having to take any of the other lines off. As you can see, it's very hectic right there, and the line is all the way inside. So here we have the piece that he replaced, and you could tell it has some slits in there, some cracks. You know, it was getting pretty bad. It had been leaking for a few days now, but it started to get worse and worse, and you know, I had to get somewhere ASAP before I ended up being on the side of the road, having to call road service and increase how much I had to spend on this already expensive replacement, which isn't that bad, honestly. I think the piece it was around 20 to 30 bucks, but you know, that mechanics, you know, they like to overcharge. Not only that, imagine if they had to take the fuel filter off. Oh man, that's a few more hours added onto the whole labor part. But yeah, so this is kind of like a hard plastic, so it's not really rubber. It's hard to bend, so if it cracks, you know, it's gonna start spreading like crazy. So right here, he's just trying to get this little pump going on that he's gonna use to transfer the coolant into the coolant reservoir. It's pretty cool little handed device instead of having to use a funnel or anything like that. Just topping it off with some coolant, extra gallons, and we are good to go. So he did make me turn on the truck, you know, let that coolant circulate, make sure it doesn't need anymore. He did tell me to, you know, keep checking it, which I do my pre-trip obviously every morning, so I do check it every single day. But he just told me to keep an eye out for it, making sure there's no leaks or anything like that anymore. And that's it. Appreciate this, guys. Appreciate this mechanic. I mean, this took probably 2 to 2.5 hours at most. I think the most of it, we had to let the engine cool down before he started to work on it. And then I did end up buying a few trailer tires right here, used tires, which that's how I roll. They were pretty good. They weren't too bad. For 150 bucks each tire, $200 installed. I mean, can't beat that. Utah, here, check them out, guys. JMC, heavy and light truck service. These guys did an amazing job on my truck. Let's get back on the road.